Day two of these tier lists. Um, let's start here. Call of Duty games. I could do that one. That one's fun. That one seems like a lot of fun. Um, Obviously, we go into presentation mode. So out of these, I unfortunately, and I'm gonna put this S tier. I'm gonna use my median is B. Um, of the games that I really haven't played much at all, just because they may not have been the games that I started to play on. And I know that's a handful, but this is the handful of games we have to actually list, because of not really playing. And it hasn't been updated for the new Modern Warfare and Red Black Ops, the new one. Um, but we have a handful of games here. Let's just start with Ghost. So the biggest pitfall with Ghost is the multiplayer felt really stiff and boring. It was super boring online. I enjoyed my time playing, but it just was nothing specially fun. I actually did like creating my own match offline, and I did a lot of that and got to explore how it felt. And some of the maps were really good, but there was one, I forgot which one it was. It was like a broken old castle. It just had way too much space for the amount of players you were playing on that map. That felt like if it was here right now, it would be a perfect 10v10 map. It was just a bit too big, and it would also match perfectly into uh, uh, the new theme of making really bad or really easy to snipe with maps. Um, the story, or yeah, let's go to the story. The campaign. I actually admit it was super fun and super engaging up until the very last scene where you get drug away and you don't know what happens next. The guy you thought you killed doesn't die and the story's over then. It really leaves you on the cliffhanger, and I don't think that they really answered the question. I think he might have came back in uh, Modern Warfare. I don't know. I know he's a playable character online, but yeah, yeah. Overall, I like the Alien. I really do. It's an A tier for me. I think the pitfalls online and with the campaign, meh. I didn't really like, and this is going to go straight to the trash pile. World War II, the concept was really bold and interesting, especially after the release of Battlefield 1. I don't know whether the execution was done. The storyline wasn't engaging at all. It wasn't particularly fun or memorable. The online, I remember playing for a little bit, not that long, and it was fine. It was not great at all, but it was fine. I didn't really. The main map where you go to meet with other people and do other little things like that was really disorienting and really confusing. And this game is pretty much going to be forgettable to me. I remember that exists very vividly because I have very vivid memories, but they weren't always good. It was always boring. Um, Infinite Warfare. This is going to be a surprise to many, but this is my one of my consistently favorite uh, Call of Duties. The storyline was really cool, and if you didn't play the storyline, and if you didn't get engaged with space combat and assaults through space, it would be really easy for you to not really like it. And if you like boots on the ground Call of Duties, it's easy to dislike it. But if the story mode resonates inside of you, you understand why the game had to be like it was, and the multiplayer was super easy and tilted a lot of the time. There would always be like three or four in the heyday back in like 20, because I didn't really start playing it until like 2017, 2018. I don't remember. As some of my, I think I played it for a while before I even streamed it uh, on my channel. I think I'd already played it a whole bunch. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I did because I already had a bunch of weapons that I had grinded for, and I was pretty much on my. I think I had pretty much the same diamond armor I have now, where I was grinding for diamond armor, and I have it on my Xbox. But I was grinding for a lot of the same weapons. But it was fun. It was easy. You could go through levels real easy. You could get prestiges real easy. And zombies was probably the pinnacle of it. But because it was a more traditional zombies with an 80s movie retake, and I've loved every moment of playing it, even to this day. Black Ops 3. I played a handful of this. I think I really picked it up right as 4 was releasing. It's gonna stay with oh man, we're gonna put it S tier. I really liked it. Um, Black Ops 4 was really really good to me. Oh, maybe that's mine. I don't know. I don't know. That no, I forgot what game that is. Oh, that's Black Ops 2. Okay, okay, okay. Black Ops 3 is fine. I think the biggest pitfall was just it not being really catching. Black Ops 1 is going to be SS tier. I like it particularly because I like war history from um, pretty much World War II to really pretty much not anything current, but like anything between the war tactics ending in pretty much 2000, really. Everything before that and up to 1940s, I always loved to play these games and love to see the combat and the game story mode was fun. I didn't really play tons of online, and the zombies is a classic zombies. Kino deter Kino de Toten being a key one. This is 4. 4 is gonna go up here with 3. No, it's not. No, it's not. I didn't really like 4. I my no, no, no. Hold up. Hot take, hot take. It's in the C tier. I don't like that it doesn't have a story mode. The zombies wasn't that fun. It was cool, but it was. I love the fact that you could really cheat your way to getting everything you wanted. Whatever. That's cool. But overall, it's just. Black Ops 2. It's going up here. I'm gonna replace it. It was a very good game. Probably the best multiplayer. I really did like 4's multiplayer. I really picked up Call of Duty hardcore multiplayer stuff with that. So that gets some bonus points, but it really doesn't move it up. I played some multiplayer, and I played the story. It was pretty fun. And the zombies is always a classic as well. And Advanced Warfare. Most people would automatically throw it here, but I'm going to give it some props personally. I don't like the story mode particularly. Uh, the multiplayer, the weapons were really cool and dynamic, including the meme that is the blunderbuss. For me, that's where all these rank. Yeah, I'm not. I'm going for these hot takes. Hot takes. Okay. 100 plus games. This is gonna take a while. I probably won't do all of this, but I'll pop out a lot. Holy hell, there's a lot of games. I'll go as many. If I don't really play them, I'll put them in middle like normal. So, let's see. There's gonna be. Okay. So they'll all be placed down here. So first game up, Bioshock. I It's a decent game. I don't really have any feelings one way or another, but it's a decent game for me. I haven't really played through tons of it. I just don't like the steampunk aspect as much as a lot of other people, and I see why it's a very popular game. And don't get me wrong, it was decently fun. That's just not my type of game, but it was overall for the time really good. I can't. I don't. If only I could see them. They're really freaking small. See whether I could turn them. Okay, maybe. There we go. There, I could see it a bit better. So yeah, Castlevania. Yeah, no, I can certainly say I haven't. That is one thing. There's gonna be a lot of have not. There might be a. There's probably still gonna be a lot of have not played or tried. So Fallout New Vegas. Uh, how about I just? I'm gonna just get out my mouse for this one. Um, I've been using Fallout New Vegas. It's I played through it enough. I think that most of the Fallout's are gonna end up here. Just because I don't like the. I'm not big on the lonely, lonely slower vibes. The newer games will probably get ring tired just because the mods make it really fun and you can do a lot of goofy stuff. But yeah, Half Life I have not tried. Street Fighter, it's a good game. It's a good game. It really is the definition of a good fighter game, and a classic, and something that has made all fighting games develop the way that they have. Oh. Super Smash Bros. Especially the new ones are amazing. They've all been super fun, and the way that they've changed game after game, the improvements that they made are always outstanding. Team Fortress 2, the game that crashed my stream a couple of streams ago, it's a decent game. I don't really have much else to say about it. Okay. I don't have much to say about it. It's something that I enjoyed playing, and I was decently good at playing heavier demo man. But overall, Until Dawn, haven't played. Warframe, uh, I think I think I haven't. I think I got a little bit into Warframe. Um, I'm just gonna put it decent because if I played it a little bit, but I don't vividly remember it, I'll probably put it there just for feeling better about it. Uncharted 4, I've seen a ton of gameplay, and it is a very good game. Storyline and graphically, combat wise, I don't have to play it to know that this game is a very good game. Um, Yakuza, those are also very good. Any Yakuza games are super good. I remember playing Yakuza Zero and just having so much fun. And I'm playing through Kiwami One right now, and that's been super fun. Battlefield One, it was a bad game. It was a bad game. I did like the storyline, and it was really fun. Just playing through that, but the online, I don't think the World War One concept goes well into the Battlefield's massive multiplayer or even multiplayer for the most part experience. I think that a lot of the maps were just boring and a lot of just running and things like that. There's not really that much interesting, and I know it comes down to where you're fighting at, but ultimately it leads it to be an extremely boring game that needs more action. Pro Skater 2. Uh, Very good game. I have the remastered 1 and 2 for both Xbox and PlayStation, and honestly, they're just as good as the originals. They look very good. And even back in the day, I have this for the GameCube, or I have 3 and 4 for GameCube, and it was super. It's still super fun to play. Red Dead 2, I have not tried, but I've seen gameplay. It's a decent game. I think like any Rockstar game, they're really held back by their developers and sometimes their lack of thoroughness in certain situations where there's big exploits to be taken advantage of, and they're more aligned to updating GTA Online and adding more DLCs to that and doing other things. Dota 2, I knew this was coming. I have not played, but I've heard uh, different things about it. Fire Emblem, I have not played. Halo Reach, I've played a bit, and it's just a bad game to me. I didn't really like Reach as much as most of the rest of the Halos. I think one was fine. It was pretty groundbreaking, but I love two more. 2 is my favorite, and I actually really did like 4 and the concepts that they put forward and just the storyline. You felt it. Sonic, it's a good game. Classic Sonic. Ooh, wait, what? Okay. I if that I was gonna say if that's Sonic R, I don't know what it's doing on this list. No, it's a good game. Most Sonic games from back in the day have always been really good, but the concept does get old, and I can see why it's on. I have not played that one. Batman. It is a great game. Combat beautiful, graphics beautiful, storyline wonderful. Jungle Party have not played. Modern Warfare 3 have not played. Uh, oh, I vividly remember playing this one. This one's a great game, just from nostalgia. Uh, Nostalgia has Crash Bandicoot Racing very high because I remember playing it back in old daycares and stuff like that on the PlayStation 1. It was so fun. Mass Effect 3, I've played 1 and Andromeda, and I've seen gameplay of 3. It's a very good game. It's a very good game. I think I don't know. I hope I don't know. There really isn't much to say about Mass Effect at this point. Final Fantasy, that's 7. I've played 7. It's a very good game. I remember playing through it and having it, but there's nothing vivid that comes to mind. But I also remember it being very fun and playing hours on it. Watch Dogs, I've seen gameplay on it. It's good. I don't know. It's decent. All the games following it have been really disappointing, and even that game was just decent. It wasn't something specially groundbreaking. You know, Uncharted 3. This one's gonna go up with Uncharted 4. Same reasoning. They've always been very good games to play, and it's yeah. RoboCop Rising. Metal Gear Rising. I have not played that. Bloodborne. I have also not played Bloodborne. I know I've not played that one. Lego Star Wars 2. Man, by itself, if it was like the complete saga, I would put it up at great. 2 by itself was good. It wasn't anything groundbreaking from anything prior or since then, but I would, if it was a complete collection, I would have been like, or the entire saga, I would have been like, that's a pretty great game. Shadow of the Colossus, another game I've not played. XCOM 2, I remember hearing a lot about that at the end of middle school, and someone being very hyped about XCOM 1, the new re-release of XCOM 1 when it first re-released. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, another Ezio game. They're It's a very good game. Most of Assassin's Creed I don't have a problem with. Um, I've had fun playing them and seeing what they've been doing and what they do with what they got. GTA 4, it's a decent game. I can't say that I played tons of hours on it, but what I can say is that it was pretty fun to watch on YouTube people bringing in realistic cars and having realistic damage effects and seeing how that works. That was always cool to me. Gear Solid, not played. Assassin's Creed, Black Flag. Black Flag. I actually did have a good time playing this game. It was a very good game. I like the implementation of ships and being a pirate hunter. Pirate or a pirate hunter. Smite. I've seen gameplay. It's a decent game. Doom, the new Doom. Ooh. I think that's a good game. I don't really. I played through some of it. It does get confusing, and I didn't play the originals. So. Borderlands 2. This is a very good game. Or a great game. I'm sorry. This game brought Borderlands to me. I bought the Handsome Edition, which comes with a free sequel, and I've really loved it. Playing through it is really fun, and I have Borderlands 1. Now, I played through Borderlands 1 a bit, and it got a bit boring. Final Fan, the newer Final Really, other than 7, I haven't played many of them. Watch Dogs 2. Oh, decent games. Nah, that one was a step back. I didn't really like Watch Dogs 2. It wasn't as fun to even watch. Dark Souls? I've not played any of the Dark Souls. The Sin, I know. Oh. I know what that is. I know what it is. It's that, hold up. Give me just a second. Let me just try to jog my memory here. I got this. I got this. I got this. Middle Earth Shadow War. This one was a very fun game. This is a very good game. I always liked it. The combat was addicting. Need for Speed. Which one is it? Oh, that's the 2015 one. That's a decent game. And I didn't like the dark, rainy, all the time, nighttime. I know what it was trying to go for, nighttime street races, but it didn't always have to be rainy at very least. And that really took it out for me. It's played pretty much. That's like been the precedent for any Need for Speed game since. They all relatively play more or less the same. Since Super Mario Odyssey, I've not really played. Devil May Cry, I've not really played. Soul Calibur 6, it's a really bad game. As, other than the character customization, it's it has horrible connection issues. You can't really get into a good online fight consistently. And it's not really rememberable for anything else. It doesn't. From what I recall, it doesn't like. Yeah, it just doesn't resonate. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Hot take. This was an amazing game. It is still an amazing game. I like the concepts they've implemented, and the map is wonderful, beautiful. The fighting, and the way you could adjust your character to be your character in the aspect of what abilities you have and what weapons you use. And I know it's just like replacing one item with a slightly better item at the very end of the day when you're grinding through it. But I've had fun, not only on the ship battles, but going up and having to sneak on people and being, if I wanted to be, being obnoxious about things. Just with the uh, get up to no good, and you could be hunted by a bounty hunter, and you could get some pretty cool gear and fight through a bunch of those. Um, Mortal Kombat 11. It's a good game. Most Mortal Kombat will probably end up here. They're very good games, and they're iconic, but at the same time, like most things, they haven't changed other than graphical, and that's fair. Modern Warfare, I've had a ton of fun with it. It's a very good game. You know what? Bump it up. That storyline, the graphics, even the online play, even though all the maps were just kind of silly and sniper bait, you can't use really much cover at all. Um, it, that takes away from it being anything better. If it had a better multiplayer and they continued to use a lot of these same mechanics that they were testing on this on the new Black Ops, I know that the different publishers or the devs doing it, but it still took away from it. Doom, the original Doom that I have not played. Half Life, oh, not played that. League of Legends, it's a good game. I like the concepts, and the fighting seems pretty fun, and then the competitive nature seems pretty fun. I don't know whether I haven't played it for extended amounts of time just because it's just sometimes it's a bit much. Overwatch I have not played. I've seen a bunch of gameplay, and I just think it's a really bad game just in general. I don't like much of what they're doing there. It just seems a bunch overly complicated and just a big meme. The original Crashes I haven't played much of. God of War 1 I've seen. It's a good game. It's a good game. God, I don't know whether I want to go through all these. Alright, we're not going to go through all these. There's way too many. And I'm going to start putting way too many in, like... Mm, mm. Alright, so we're going to just do 2012. Best overall players in the NBA. This is going to be a big thing of whether I could vividly remember or like know all their faces off the top of my head. It looks like it's not quite updated um, in a while because Jersey. Although I wouldn't bother doing that. Jersey. Um, yeah, yeah. Let's go here. PG. Oh my lord, this man. He's a, he's a B tier. You can't go any lower. But if you call yourself playoff P, you got to deliver in the playoffs, and he's not done that. Not for OKC, not for Indiana, and not so far for the Clippers. I still would hold pause just because he probably is going to get carried. If they get into playoffs, I feel like he's going to be carried a lot more by Kawhi, and it was pretty much proven last year that he's kind of he shouldn't be considered as even close to a first option. If anything, a second option, and then at all last resort third. My boy Bradley Beal. Uh, I I'm gonna. Ooh, ooh. I'm gonna put him here just because he's not, in my mind, anything higher than a very good starter. I know he has his moments, but I think situationally, as of this moment, it doesn't really seem like anything he's doing is gonna help. And having Russ really hasn't helped at all, and not because of Russ specifically, but nevertheless, it doesn't make it any better. Clay. We're thinking post-injury Clay. He's going down. His game style probably won't fall out of favor, but I don't think the situation in the Warriors is going to clear up anytime soon. And I don't know how much this injury is going to affect his actual shooting. Maybe it will affect his lift a bunch more, and so maybe he won't be as effective, just in general from that perspective. And that's why I'm going to hold out hope. But if there was an F tier, I would be more worried about him. But as a C tier, it's still not that bad. But I think that right now, where the situationally, it puts him right there. De'Aaron Fox, he's an A tier. I think that a lot of it comes down to the team he plays on. He probably won't get higher than A, but I also don't see him being lower than B. He's just been that consistent of a player since day one, and I think that that's going to go a long way for him. I still think that there's a bunch of untapped potential, but I don't know how much this team is going to help or hinder. Kevin Durant, my boy, S tier automatically. And I'm going to say this with a divided mind. And only from the playability is he an S tier. If I were going to factor anything else in, putting him at S tier should theoretically make him happy to be considered the first player, no doubt, goes to the S tier. I know it would make him happy, but he'd find somewhere else to complain about how he's been underrated all this time. Listen, in a league where LeBron still exists and Luka is coming up and Giannis exists, and you being on the bad side of 30, no matter how good you are, time's going to catch up to you. And not only that, it's not time for that. You just came off of a blown Achilles. You could score your heart out, but eventually, you just got to realize that at a time, you were better than LeBron until he beat you in the finals. And actually, you were better than LeBron in most people's mind in between the time where he left Miami and got that championship. When he when he left Miami and until 2015 or 2016 when he beat the Warriors, you were the best player, no matter where you went. Even when you left for the Warriors, you played the best. But personality takes it out of a lot of people. I think from raw, if we're thinking from raw playing ability, this is where I rate him. And I'm doing most of these based on the raw talent, unless the stuff they're doing outside is affecting the game. And thus far, it hasn't really affected this man's game. And he's got to stay up there. Oh, my boy. I want to put you D tier just because I see some of these other faces on here, and you might get adjusted. Oh, well, I might have to adjust you now. You, Mr. Zach LaVine, unfortunately for you, after the ACL tear, a lot of what made you you, and even what made you you, doesn't really translate to being a number one. Now, as the best player on the Bulls right now with a developing team, he has to be the number one, and he's done a great job, and I commend him for that. But at the same time, you could also say that a lot of what he's done the last 2 years is right where Michael Kidd-Gilchrist found himself in his rookie year. I'm just saying that's the way I look at it. Mr. Blake Griffin, I still think he's a solid player. I think, yes, with all the lower body injuries, his physicality has taken a dip. But also, what people don't realize is that he actually has a pretty solid midpoint or a pretty good three and mid range game. And his playmaking is actually very good. I just think that being on the Clippers where he was perfect for him at the time, and they could have done a lot more with that. Yeah, but even when he came to Detroit, he hasn't been the most horrible, and actually he's done a lot of things. But I think it just goes under the radar because of the fact that he isn't with the same team in LA getting all this news. It's in Detroit, where all they have to look for is rebuilding now. Ben Simmons. Oh boy, gonna get some flack for this one. Unfortunately, with your lack of range, it really puts a hindrance on going any higher than this. By playing the one guard in your position or in your team, I don't know whether that's really helped or hindered anything. I think it's hindered a lot because you can't space things out on your own. You have to rely on your team a lot more. And I think that's really, in the playoffs, you as a point guard have to make that space. If they're smart, they'll put him back at the four or run him 3 or 4 in the lineup. Small forward, power forward, one of the forwards instead of one of the guards. But I guess his playmaking is so great that it will overcome anything. If he doesn't put work into his jump shot, he's going to end up here pretty damn fast, no matter what his talent is. He doesn't need to be a point guard. I think his talents are better suited to be down in the dirt, but he just doesn't play that way. His athleticism and playmaking make it an impossibility. Oh, D'Angelo Russell. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm indifferent about him. Really, I'm just split. I like his play style enough, but he's been pretty much the same player since his days in Brooklyn. I think he took a step forward in Brooklyn, but ever since he's left there, no matter where he's gone, he's been more or less the same player. Not really a needle mover at this point. Karl-Anthony Towns, A tier. One of the better big men in the league. I just think that he's putting up a bunch of stats for nothing. This Minnesota team hasn't gotten anywhere. They've been spinning their tires in the mud so long, they've probably found the clay beneath the surface. They can get themselves out of it, but I don't know how long it might take. Kemba, wait, another one of these guys. Now I'm going to knock him down. His play recently has declined a bit, but that's just because of his situation and with the Celtics. The role he plays is so much different with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So my boy Chris Paul, because of age and declining ability. His game style is going to give him so much more longevity, maybe a couple more years, just because he's more of a facilitator and is so smart. But that doesn't really excuse the fact that I see his days in the Rockets coming back to him a bit. Not from the arguments perspective, but from the game. He's going to start really aging. I think maybe gracefully like LeBron, but he's going to start showing some serious age very soon. Um, but he's probably the smartest playing point in the league, still to this day. My boy, gonna put you there. You want, and a lot of this has to do with situation and age. San Antonio, their system is a bit different, and it just hasn't worked out there because they really just need to go full belly up and rebuild for real, for real. I don't think that the LaMarcus Aldridge is a sign that they're going to do that, but who knows? Unfortunately, I just don't like the way he plays. Just in general, he's always been super athletic and a very effort player, a very much an effort player. One of those guys who goes out, plays hard, has a couple good games, and unfortunately, he's never been in the situation to actually win. And I know you argue back with the Toronto days, but do you really think Toronto is going to win with anything other than like a Hail Mary and Kawhi? I don't think so. And for that, the trade pretty much worked out for both sides pretty well. I mean, there hasn't been too much kickback or drama from either side. DeMar DeRozan has been solid over the last couple of years, and Kawhi won Toronto a championship and then ran off. And Toronto needed a championship, just in general. Donovan Mitchell. If only, depending on how he does for the rest of the year, and if he becomes the ultimate team leader, even though I know that's not the Jazz's game by any means, um, he can't go up any higher. I don't. I love him as a player. His personality, his everything is great. His 2A, awesome. Another direct S tier just from his pure scoring ability. The greatest scorer probably ever. And I'm gonna say that hands down. If you could score as much as he has in the last 5 years for teams that really just ended up belly flopping, name me one. Like his insane average of what he got like 45 points a game over a long stretch of games last season. A tier for Trey. I watched him in college, and I really hope that the situation in Atlanta develops out a bit better for him, or he's just going to be another one of the players. Giannis, S tier, my boy. If you've won an MVP quite recently and you're always in the talk, you deserve to be an S tier. If you're one of the 5 players in the league that is constantly talked about in that way, I think it does a lot. My boy Joel, S tier, just because you are the center of that Philly team, and I think that holds a lot of weight. And the fact that the team can't really function without you also makes you a lot better than you. I like myself some Andre Drummond, but I'm going to put him good old B tier. There's a reason why people don't want him, but at the same time, he's always been very solid. I think he's a bit more of a, he's more athletic. He's a more athletic Steven Adams to me, and he's always been super consistent. And honestly, I just wish there wasn't so much drama around in the last 2 years with all the ways he's been traded. Victor Oladipo got traded, my boy, but I think that injury really took a lot out of him physically, and I think that really his game predicated a lot more on that physical, athletic style, and I don't know whether he's going to bounce back as great as everyone says. S tier Luka. From day one, this man stepped up and stole hearts and proved why he probably should have been taken number one. He's done nothing but great things. I think his situation is a very interesting one. I really hope that they get it figured out. Kristaps, find a different situation there. Find a way to trade him. I know that his injury issues have been an issue, but at the same time, you could just justifiably argue for him just like you could anybody else. Look at what he's done to this point, and that can't be denied by anybody. Nikola S tier, baby. The best center in the league, hands down, passing, scoring, on one of the best teams in the league. The leader of this team, and has always been talked about that way. No way Jamal Murray's taking over no matter how many points. It's always Jokic talk, and there's a reason. if you're talked about more than other people, even if your market isn't the greatest, that says something. Kawhi, Super Kawhi, man, I think he's taken a step back. I think the situation in Clipperland isn't the greatest, and it's really taken effect. I think he's still producing relatively at the same level. I just things just are different with him, and I think that really hinders. Jimmy Butler, my boy. Ooh. I'm gonna have to put you A tier. I want to put you S tier so badly after that championship run, and I saw it happen. He has been one of my favorite players to watch, just in general, since he really blew up with Derrick Rose, or after Derrick Rose went down, and his journey. Just how much fight this man has. He kept Miami in this last playoffs far longer than they should have been. Boogie. Boogie is unfortunately a D tier after the Achilles injury for big man. He's not even close to the same player. He could probably still stretch it out like he was able to and be a decent playmaker, but his physical nature and his just appearance on the court just takes a lot out of me. Steph hasn't taken a step back. His gameplay won't take a step back. His situation is not great, but at the same time, you're a unanimous former unanimous MVP, back-to-back MVPs. He won multiple championships. In your gameplay, the style of game you play and the way that they facilitate it toward you is something that even you can't. You don't. You rely on. He relies on shooting, and that's really going to keep him longevity. Boy, Kyle Lowry almost didn't get traded. I'm not gonna say D tier because that's like saying they're not that great. I'm not saying that these guys aren't great by any means. They're just out of this list, not that great. Your age is catching up to you. Your team doesn't always want you, and they want to move in a new direction for a new Raptors team, and you want to retire after. You might want to retire after this season if that's wanting to happen. LeBron S tier. You can't talk S tier without saying LeBron. I'm gonna put him even at the front. The best player in the league and the best player in history, just in general for me. No disrespect to Michael Jordan. I just and I know it's because the same reason why everyone will defend Jordan until the day the earth crumbles. But this man has gone through so much, and he's continuing to do so much, and winning championships with three different teams. Yeah, his success is not always the most consistent, but he's always the best when it matters. And even when his teams don't win, he puts up insane stats. Anthony Davis, another case of you're talked about, you get it, and honestly, since his days in New Orleans, nothing's really changed. He's just awesome. He's awesome about almost all the time. And if you can't stop talking about him, if he's the biggest talk of the town, yeah. And especially since the torch seems to be handing off a bit in spurts and times, he's going to become even more important to this team. And he's done nothing but step up. Vucevic, ooh, I don't really have much to say about him. I mean, he's solid. He's nothing. He's solid. There isn't anything particular that gets under my skin, but maybe they moved on from 2 years too late. Maybe they could have cashed in a bit earlier and on a couple other different pieces instead of trying to run it back for an 8 seed bounce out. Oh. Damian Lillard, probably the most underrated player just in history, I would think. This man should have won way more. Um, and that's partially front office, but part of it was just something that they couldn't control. And if your draft picks don't pan out, but also how many times he's been snubbed, and how many MVPs I think he should have won. He's been super underrated most of his career. I know everyone knows he exists, but my boy I think A tier. He's still Russ is a very good player, and he's my favorite player in history just from the pure watching him. He's an instant Hall of Famer, and anybody who wants to argue with me about empty stats, honestly, if you're the only if you are the only true superstar on your team, even because Victor Oladipo in that year where he went triple double wasn't anything spectacular. He didn't really have a number two. He didn't have Paul George. He didn't have this, that, or the other. He didn't have that, and he did what any player with his mindset did or would do: go out and get the team to win, no matter how it happens. And yes, I know at the end of the season, getting that that last assist or last shot to secure the triple double. Honestly, at that point, like, you're going down in the history books. He's made a complete joke of a triple double, and he's still doing it to this day. And honestly, I don't think he should get as much hate because a lot of his success was really predicated upon the fact of the teams that OKC went up against a lot of the time, and even when they got bounced out perennially in the first year. I mean, it's proven to this year that Utah had been building something, and Portland had always been very good with in the playoffs. I think that those are the two teams that really turn it up in the playoffs, and you could see how their game plans changed very vividly. I know the game slows down for everyone as far as gameplay and strategy, but I mean, you there's not been a player like him, and I don't think that there ever will be. That's just my uh, as dominant and with his talents. I know he needs to work on his shooting, but at the same time, he's probably a better facilitator. I, but I don't think that it's going to age well, especially with the way has always relied on being so athletic and physical, and when that's clearly not even close to being the case anymore. LaMarcus Aldridge is just getting older. Nothing against him in any specific capacity. I just don't. I just he's just been He's just been aging, and it feels like it's been forever, and he feels like he's like 5,000. John Wall. John Wall. John Wall. After that injury, he just hasn't been the same. He's with Victor Oladipo, and the list of these three will be the list of injured and really haven't bounced back the way we expected, or haven't been as impactful as they were before for various reasons. From team to just the injury was pretty big, and it really took it out of him. And he was another one like Russ who just relied physically. I know he had a better stroke and everything, but at the same time, Kyrie, my boy Kyrie, A class. He's still very good playing, but he just never shocked me as or took me as one of the guys that you would throw into the MVP candidate. He's just been a very, very good starter of his career. My boy Devin Booker, S tier. This man, it shouldn't be a hot take. Rookie year scoring 70 and has done nothing but great things for that team. He's probably going to be like another. I don't know. I think it just because of team dysfunction, he's always being forgotten about or being put across as not that great or just not a first thought. And that really takes it out of him. One more. Fuck it. Let's do a fast food one. Let's get right into it. No, 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 no. All right. All right. Arby's. Most of it's really salty, and there's a handful of items that I get. I think I get the Reuben a bunch, and I worked there for a little bit, so I got a really inside scoop. I just don't know. I'm very indifferent about it. I don't really think about it one way or another. Burger King, my C tier, first C tier entrant. They're okay. I mean, I've always liked McDonald's better. Not only have they been cheaper, but I like their food, and I don't really like the Whopper that much. That's a hot take for a lot of people. Little Caesars, see, they're not really that great, but they're cheap, affordable, and fills your stomach. And honestly, it really ruins the craving for pizza for a while for me, especially. But it's good when you need a quick couple pizzas on the fly. Carl's Jr. I haven't tried much. They're gonna go B tier. I remember some, but honestly, A tier Chick Fil A. I just like their food. I like their chicken. Their chicken tastes great. The waffle fries are iconic. I'm not thinking about anything outside of the food. Chipotle, I haven't really tried, so I'm gonna have to put them there. I would imagine that they're very good because of the memes and because everyone talks about them like they do. Domino's Pizza is a B tier. I don't like how most of the time when I get it, they have that garlic parmesan brush crust. I don't really like it that much. I'm a big crust person. I like to taste the sweetness of most of these crusts or what that crust tastes like. I think it adds a alternative dynamic and helps absorb a lot of the juices that might get squeezed out on the bottom. You know, Dairy Queen, C tier. I don't have a problem with them. They're fine. They're good. Um, Five Guys, S tier. They are expensive as hell, and they're getting more and more expensive. But nonetheless, I love their Cajun seasoned fries. They have a Coke Freestyle. That's always going to give you bonus points of the Coke Freestyle. Um, Not only that, but their burgers are so good to me. And the fact that you could customize them, and if you want a hot dog, or if you want hot dogs, you could customize them to have whatever toppings you want. No, from what I know, no additional charge, and that's good. In and Out, I don't think I've tried much of In and Out. Jack in the Box, I really like most of what they have. Their shitty little tacos are literally great, but actually, you know what? I'm gonna put them down because I tried the butter drenched fucking buns a couple years ago, and that shit was suicidal, and I hated it. Tasted disgusting. Too much butter is not great. KFC, shitty little joint, but good enough to get the job done. As far as chicken places go, I live right outside of Yukon, Oklahoma, and if anybody doesn't know anything about Yukon, the only thing they like to build is anything that involves chicken. So I get the palette of chicken, and because we have so many chicken places around the corner from each other, this is the butt of the end of the joke. And I had a friend that worked there for a long while, and I ate myself silly out of it, and it just never got better. McDonald's, they're B tier. Their food is getting better just in general, and they've never really been an issue for me. I mean, I could see the health concerns, but Panda Express, S tier. Now, I remember back a whole handful of years ago, it could have been like a decade ago, where my mom made us stop eating Panda Express because came out cold. And I think it was one of our trips to Miami, and that really turned her off. But when I started getting it and getting it fresh, getting it in when it was freshly cooked, or when I went in there to the store when I was working at my last job, it was always great. And Papa John's, pizza wise, probably. Oh, I really like Papa John's crust. I mean, pizzas aren't terrible. I think gets a bit overloaded just from cheese, but overall, Papa John's is pretty freaking solid. Pizza, I worked there for a month. I absolutely hated it, and I can't say anything more. Popeyes, they're fine. I've tried a couple of different. Actually, no, bump that down. I think I don't know whether it was just one batch, but none of the shrimp were clean. Uh, the mini shrimp, and I know they're probably pre-cooked like that, but that seems like something that needs to be done. Or they were a bit too big, jumbo shrimp. I don't know. They make them with smaller shrimp, so they don't have that. But it just was really not that great to bite into it and know that in the next bite you'll have the gritty shit of some kind of crustacean in your mouth. It wasn't the greatest of feelings to have, so I did eat the rest of it. Sonic, I get Sonic a lot. And from their drink customization to most of their breakfast foods are really good. I've been getting the meat egg, the meat burrito, whatever they want to call it, and I like. Most of their stuff is really good. Iconic tots. Subway is a C tier. They're okay, but they're not the worst. I would rather have a Jimmy John's, Schlotsky's, or Panera Bread, or uh, oh, what's another one? Jersey Mike's. If I'm going for something like a sandwich, it's not a Subway thing, but they're not. I would not go to them. I usually get a toasted sandwich, and it's pretty solid with a bag of chips. Something decently light but filling. Taco Bell, shitty little place. My same friend who worked here worked there, and it was okay. It, indigestion's not a great thing. Wendy's is fine. I haven't had them in a while, and I've never had White Castle, so they're gonna go there. Maybe one more. I know I said one more, but that one was a short and sweet one, and I just want to do one more. Uh, rappers in 2020. Let's see what I remember faces. Let's see. I gotta read these. Oh my lord. Okay, so this is a long one. I'm gonna probably just keep it short and sweet, just based on my experience. So, actually, they have names. Always lacks in quality or skill, but isn't entirely trash. Occasionally good, but not consistently. Mostly inconsistent quality. Great, but not good, but not great. Might be somewhat inconsistent. Very talented, nearly flawless, but not top tier. Best in game coach. 21 Savage. Um, I think recently he's gotten pretty good. But I think that he still has that consistency issue with a lot of different projects, and I think that really fucking hinders a lot of different things. For me, Trippy Red, I'm gonna put him at not entirely trash, and this is from pure song perspective, not again nothing I base anything on is outside of what they're what this tier list is trying to accomplish, and it's based on music. So therefore, we're gonna put him there. And always. I think his biggest thing is skill. It's not consistency because consistently he's been 6'9", so 6 lakh. I've heard some of his features, but I don't have an opinion on it. Ooh, is this ASAP Ferg? Yeah, I think that's probably the best definition. Uh, he just isn't always the most consistently enthusiastic about what he's doing, and it just really. Travis Scott, very good, nearly flawless, but not top tier. I think that's where he goes. I all of his very spacey and very trancy songs, very throughout his entire career, have always intrigued me. But the newest album, Astro World, was really good, and I've listened to it a bunch. Hab Soul, very talented, nearly flawless. Good but not great. The only reason why Absol is because of the consistency of what he's trying to accomplish inside of his music, whether it be beats or lyrics. I think that that's where he drops off some. Nevertheless, super talented and super entertaining a lot of the time. Ooh, I think this might be. Let me just make sure. That might be. I'll come back to this. Unsure. I'm just gonna put him. If I don't know, 50 Cent. Oh, I'm gonna get slayed. I just there are some projects that I just don't vibe with as much as others, but I can respect everything he's done, and some of his best hits are very very good and very easy to listen to even now. And I listen to almost all these artists that I have an opinion on at some capacity to an extent. Boogie with the hoodie, trash, my boy. My boy, trash. I just don't like everything he's been releasing. I think the only song that I really vibe with, even close to, is probably Drowning. But even then, I don't. There isn't much for me to say about him as far as anything else. I mean, I don't really got much else. Besides, probably I haven't heard much from him. We're gonna put that there. Action Bronson. Uh, Yeah, I'm gonna put him there. I don't know. I don't fuck with his vibe as much. I've heard a bunch of things. My personal favorite probably being Baby Blue, but I don't know. I don't know. Amine Caroline was a fucking banger. Um, he's been pretty good. I think his talent and the way he portrays himself and the way he comes across his music is very much a Portland-esque thing, which is where he comes from. So it makes sense. And I've always vibed with his music, and some of his newer stuff bangs hard. Anderson Paak, occasionally good. There's a couple good songs, and he ended up on the Double XL for some reason, even though he's a singer. He's not really a rapper, so I mean, honestly, he doesn't really need to be on this list. But if you're gonna put him on this list, he's got a couple good songs out there. Bad Baby trash. Fuck that. I ain't even gonna get into it. Nothing about this woman even resembles talent in any capacity. You turned a career from being a meme to being a bad rapper, a bad YouTube rapper, a bad rapper. It's not great. Yeah, nothing interesting. It's very generic and very, I guess, it's just uninteresting and it's definitely bad thing. Big Crit. I don't really have an opinion on. Uh, I I don't. Yeah, no, I can't think of anything that would give me pause about anything that I could think of that would make me sway any way or another. Big Sean, my boy, Big Sean. I IDFW or Y. I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with you was probably the last song that I remember thinking this man really tripping. But ever since then, his last two albums have been very good to listen to, very emotional and very intense, and it's great. Black boy Jamie. A lot of these, and I'm not trashing mumble rap because I mean hell, Travis Scott mumble rapper, 21 Savage mumble rapper, and they're still pretty high up. I have respect for a lot of the guys that know how to get it done and consistently do it. But Block Boy JB, my dude, I'm going to have a hot take on Drake, but like, dude, come on, like, you blew up as an industry plant from Drake pretty much after Look Alive, and then you did something that I didn't think that most people would think to do, and pretty much on Rover 2.0, it felt like Look Alive took a very minor, like, 2-degree turn to the left, and he just continued on the song. And he's just not fun to listen to. The songs aren't fun. The lyrics aren't particularly interesting in any capacity. That just doesn't interest me. Blueface, baby. Trash. If you rap off beat and it's not good, and you do it every song, it gets annoying and it feels like you don't know what you're doing and you're not that skilled. And I just never thought of him as a skilled rapper. I just think that he got caught with a great hit. Not a great hit by the terms of like good music, but from being repetitive and easy to listen to over and over again. Brockhampton, I haven't listened to really any. Cardi B, trash. No, just annoying to listen to, but isn't. I wouldn't call her completely trash. I think that there's still room for improvement, but I don't really foresee it happening. But I don't think that she's ever going to full trash. Oh, mm, I'm gonna put him as a hot take right here, but I think that the opinion on him has changed a lot since his last album, uh, Big Day, and that's what makes him go down a tier. I was gonna put him a good but not great, but I think that depending on if and when he drops his next album, it's got to really come back to the acid rap days and the coloring book days creatively to get back on track. Like the concept of the big day is really cool, but at the same time, rapping about your family and how happy they make you didn't make you get to where you are. Like it's cool, but you don't see like these rappers that have been in a relationship for so long, have an entire album dedicated to that. Like you could have maybe a song, maybe two, dedicated to that, but the entire album just felt like a bit much. Chief Keef, nah, I don't like a lot of what he puts out. There's a couple of songs back in the day that I fucked with pretty hard, but I mean, he's fallen off for me. Childish Gambino, no longer in the game, but very talented, nearly flawless. Almost all of his work has some meaning and some kind of passion, and it's really cool. Comethazine, good but not great. I think it's just because he's still got to polish off some of what he's trying to do. But you can't just sit there and say that he's not talented because his music is very catchy and very fun to listen to a lot of the time. Cupcake trash, my boy, my lady. The baby, I really have an affection for the baby. He's super consistent with a lot of what he does, and I think that his drill rap style is very addictive. And there are a lot of songs that sound similar, but not identical. But I think my biggest thing is listening to Kirk and listening to a handful of tracks on those albums that and a good amount of his features put him out of his comfort zone, and he goes in and kills it. People complain at him for being similar, but that's just being consistent. He's consistently good at doing what he's doing. Danny Brown. Um, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna actually put him. No, I can't. I can't. Danny Brown, if he got a bit more exposure and a bit more love, he would be perfect. And his voice, his flow, his storylines, always, always, always really good. And always fun to listen to. Denzel Curry, my boy, going up here. I liked his. I liked his most recent album a bit more than a lot of people, and really it came from the meme Ultimate, but the story behind who he is as a person always captured me, and you could see it in what he talks about. My favorite song right now, Ricky, is a really good song, and it's really easy to listen to. Designer, my boy. Trash. I'm sorry. You really haven't done much, and honestly, after Timmy Turner, things just turned around for you in my mind. Drake. I don't like Drake. His monotone, always monotone and boring delivery takes it out of me. And this probably has to do with quality rather than consistency with him. Uh, Earl Sweatshirt. Oh my, I almost fucked that one up. Uh, I like myself some good Earl Sweatshirt. Never heard of him. M. Yeah. I can't say much about it, but his recent music is. Oh, I can't put it. Ah, his recent like three albums have been so angry for no reason. I think my biggest thing against people who grew up in the 90s, and I was born in the late 90s, but I'm considered a 2000 aughts baby, or yeah, the aughts kid, but it angers me how a lot of people still swear up and down that the music that they listened to as a kid were better because you could understand what they're saying, because you could do this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Look at the meaning. Here's the thing those guys changed the rap game from what it was in the 80s. And they brought to gangster hardcore rap. But music changes, and people, like, yeah, you don't hear people complain about, Kendrick Lamar like they would, you know, let's just throw out there like 21 Savage, right? But if they look deeper than that, they changed the music in their own way and they created their own type of music or help put out their type of music. Sorry, I gotta put. I'm just gonna start putting things up here. Hobson's super talented, always lyrically insane. Famous Dex. I don't really have an opinion on him. Not that I hate his music, but I haven't listened to a ton. Frenchman Tanner's just trash. Uh, if it weren't for Sway Lee, his only good song wouldn't exist. Future isn't completely trash. There are a couple good songs. G-Eazy isn't. He's just inconsistent, and a lot of his music just makes me want to skip it. But there are a handful of songs that are decent enough. G Herbo, I don't really have an opinion on. Gucci Mane, occasionally good. I agree with that. Gunna, um, almost always I don't like Gunna. Ice Cube, I'm gonna give you a good tap on the shoulder as a ledge. Gotta give respect. So J Cole, these guys that are put up here are both cons- ultra consistent, lyrically impactful, and have changed the game for their respective, or have continued to change the game and be who they are undeniably throughout their musical career. Even Hopsin, Eminem, J. Cole, Ice Cube. And the fact that there hasn't been, and a lot of these guys are guys that you wouldn't kick back if you said that they could be among the greatest. Because I don't think that there's one rapper that is the greatest of all time. You could say Tupac, you could say Biggie, but I think that I would want to push back with longevity really hurts them in my mind. But nevertheless, the music that they put out is so impactful and it impacted the people in their communities so hard. But also, you could see the same thing in like Kendrick, and I think for me, it just their music is always going to be considered one of the greatest of all time because it helped shape what we are now. But at the same time, having people tell me that some of the music I listen to is not that great because it's in the era that we live in now is like saying, I don't like cars because they aren't like what they were in the 80s or in the 70s, whatever you want to say, or I don't like today's fucking football because the football is a little bit different of a dimension than it was in the 70s or whatever. The helmets aren't the same. The helmets aren't the same. Whatever. I don't really have an opinion on Isaiah Rashad. Jaden Smith, occasionally good. There's been a couple of good songs, but nothing super spectacular. J Rock, boy J Rock, going up there. Jay Z created an empire. JID. If JID isn't in your mix, his music is awesome. Joey Badass going up here. I think a lot. There's just a lot of music I haven't listened to. God, these long lists just aren't that interesting to me. Just keep doing it. So I'll just shout out to these guys. These guys are not on the list because I just need to come back to it eventually. Whatever. Juice World, Kanye, Kendrick, uh, Lil Dicky to an extent, just from the pure talent that he could use to propel his career in a different way, even though he's more of a comedian, anyways. Uh, uh, um, Lil Peep, uh, uh, Uzi, Lil Wayne, uh, Mac Miller, uh, Posty, um, Ray Shrimmer, uh, I guess Rihanna, but she's a singer. Travis Scott #2, Tory Lanez, no, not Tory Lanez, sorry. Takeoff, Snoop, Sway, uh, Ski, Schoolboy, Ty, Tyler the Creator, um, X, even I would not say that. Corday, uh, and that's about it. And if there was Smoke Pops, um, all those guys deserve special mentions as guys who would probably end up in the top tiers, the top about two or three. But that will do it for me today. Thank you.